Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Let me check the stream, make sure. Let's see. Hopefully this is working. Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Check the stream, make sure. Let's see. Hopefully this is working. All right, cool. I think we're working today. So, I tried to get on Twitch. I was gonna try Twitch today, and just see how that went. And I plan to do both at some point. There's just some settings that I had to get sorted. So, what's up, man? How you doing today? I just plan to do just a quick one today. I was gonna, like I said, I was gonna try to get on Twitch. I have a lot of people there I know that do the IRL, so I was gonna give it a go, and then see if we can get some more people. So, but again, I'm not savvy on all this stuff, but I'm gonna get it sorted. That way I can do this on a regular basis. Just a matter of getting everything set up. So. I'll probably go over a few videos today, just a couple. Nothing too serious, but I just wanted to jump on and to see if I could get that working, and I couldn't, so I'm on here. Let's see. Sorry about yesterday. Can you not? Oh, you can't hear me with the volume? Hold on a second. At least I can see the chat today. How's that? Is that better? I turned it up a little bit. I think I have to talk a little bit more directly into the mic. So let me know. Let me know if that's okay. Let's see. Can you hear me a little bit better? What's up, Axel? Man, I tried to get it going. I had everything set up. I had my profile set up. I changed like the name of my profile, username, etc. It's terrible on TV. So you can't hear me at all on TV? Can you hear when I talk into the mic? Like right when I talk into the mic? Can you hear me? Let's see. Maybe this thing is not set up properly. I've got it turned up. Let me see. I'm not too sure. You can hear me now? Okay. Thanks. At least I can see you guys now to correct it. As good as I understand JKD, this is like the total inverse of that, right? That's okay. I don't mind putting in the reps. As long as you guys will be here, I'll be here. Alright, let's see. So I just got an idea. So there's a Dwight Woods video interview with Kung Fu Genius. If you guys want to look at that. Let's see. I haven't watched this, to be honest. So I haven't even I've been sent this several times, of course. But let's see. Alright. I don't even know if this is the start. Axel, what are you even eating? Grass does not count, man. You're not going to get protein from grass. You told me the other day you had some more meat. A little bit more meat. He did everything what? To cover. There's no original JKD. Oh, okay. That's all right. Let's watch it together. Let's watch it together. All right, let's see if I can make this work. Oh my God, why? No. I don't know Alex that well. All right, here we go. Oh my God. I swear there's a ghost on this thing. My coordination is not that bad. All right, let's see if I can turn the volume down.
And these two factions can't agree on anything.
We can't agree on anything? Come on, Alex.
All the time. I'm like that Michael Jackson meme, where he's eating the popcorn in Thriller, watching the JKD guys go at it. I think it's great. And so that's kind of, as an outsider,
you got a lot of books.
I simplified it a little bit, even to my understanding. But would you agree or disagree, or how would you phrase what the divide is between the two factions?
Well, I would say I would have to disagree, simply because there are some inaccuracies in your explanation or your understanding of what Jeet Kune Do concepts is about. So the idea, right? See, this
Axel, you need to get some Greek yogurt or
practicing or training in what Bruce Lee himself
cottage
taught,
cheese
that
or a protein powder.
In what would be known
Who wants to
as
be
Jeet Kune Do
Bruce?
concepts.
Alex Richter?
That has not been extracted, right? So, personally, I only use the terms original Jeet Kune Do and Jeet Kune Do concepts if I'm involved in a discussion like this. For myself, if you ever listen to me talk, you will, up to today in my podcast, I said, one side is supposed to be, the other side is supposed to be, because I think it is all nonsense. But if I'm forced to use the terms, I'll use them. But the context in which I'm a Dan Inosanto student, but I am not a Jeet Kune Do concepts guy. I am a Bruce Lee Jeet Kune Do guy. I am about what Bruce Lee directed. So, for example, people talk about, in concepts, you add styles. In concepts, you have to
Tell
add
him, Javier.
grappling.
Just train, man.
I say, no, you don't.
It's
You
hilarious
don't
to
have
me, all these
add
guys.
Grappling, because grappling was already there. If Bruce
I mean, I
Lee
get it. They've
had
invested a lot of time in this
zero
stuff.
interest and
Years.
zero ability in grappling, we would not have seen what we saw in Enter the Dragon, in
Yeah, it's 20,
even
25
in
grams
Way of
per
the
scoop,
Dragon to a
Axel,
lesser
but you
degree.
mix it with your
And
Greek yogurt,
definitely-
and you can get it easily
Right,
30 to 50
and
grams,
definitely
depending on the amount
not
of Greek yogurt.
in Game of Death.
That's 50 G's, man.
with
One
G.I. Jay.
serving.
I mean, look, you don't move the way Bruce Lee did. I don't care how skilled of a martial arts actor you are. You don't move like that in a grappling sequence unless you know what you're doing. So, if you look in the commentaries book, there's a section.
What's up, Robert? How's it going, man?
Two Bruce Lee nerds, right?
Yes.
There is a section.
Yeah, if you do
where
lean
he
Greek
talks
yogurt,
about
you shouldn't have any
using
trouble with
grappling
keeping the
as
calories
an
down.
attack or as a counter-attack. I mean, extensive notes on this stuff. So you cannot tell me that the idea of being proficient in grappling did not exist for Bruce Lee. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Right? So I don't see that.
So what he's saying is, a lot of people they just kind of put off grappling. Is like, it doesn't work. And it's not that it doesn't work. It's just, you really have to know the situation. Like, what kind of situation would you look to grapple? Again, I said this yesterday. The issue with a lot of people doing martial arts is like, they're looking to do something. They're looking for something. When you're in a real go, like, you don't get to look, all right, I think I'm gonna use this tactic here. No, that's not how it works. So I think people get all this kind of muddled up by people that speak the loudest. And it's not that we throw all of grappling away. It's just, as he said earlier, it's like, you have to be really good. If you're going to try to do something where you tie yourself up, in a real go, like for the context that we're talking about, real fighting. We're not talking about sports. It's different. Anyway, carry on.
You have to go add grappling. The idea of being functional in all the phases of combat.
Isham, I'm not too sure, man.
There.
I'm not too sure.
But
he claims he's a JKD guy, not a concepts guy. But he's a Dan Inosanto student.
Being skilled in grappling was
So
built in.
You'd have to ask Dwight about that.
So this idea that his followers after his death had to go add stuff, that is not true. It's already there. Everything that you need.
It's not that I think everyone thinks that you have to add stuff. It's just that Dan was told to keep it backyard. And that kind of confuses things, right? So if you have to keep it backyard, but you're teaching commercially to people all around the world, people don't really know what to think. So there's a lot of confusion involving that. Yes, there's only so much time in the day that you can train. That's right, Robert. Very true. And if you're not a professional fighter, it's like you got to really choose your options carefully because you don't have a lot of time to train. A key. You want to learn counter grappling. You really need to get with someone that's in the IFO and have them show you before, during, and after. I don't know if you're familiar with any kind of JKD structure or if you've been taught, but more or less the rules are the same, and that's that you want to end as fast as you can. So the targets are the same, but of course you have to work this out with a partner to see what you can make work. If you did a lesson with Dwight, I bet his approach is very different to what Tom does and what you do. Yeah, definitely. True. I like Dwight though. He's got a good attitude. People give him a hard time, even though he does Inosanto stuff, but he's very respectful, and he just kind of laughs it off because he's heard it all, and he's an example of how diplomatic people should be, and as Javier said earlier, we also just be really just training, Simple doesn't sell dojo membership. That's right.
In the guidelines,
too much work,
and dare I say the concepts of Jeet Kune Do. I don't know if that made sense.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that made sense. That was great.
Yeah, drills are more fun to show your friends, right?
I love these kind of conversations because
you don't want to show them a bloody lip or a busted nose.
When I talk to other people, and so it's it's really cool. Yeah.
We'll make sure he never hears that.
No, he hears it all. I tell it to his face. He knows. He totally knows it. And that was really interesting. So, of course, because you don't have an interlocutor for a debate, all right, and I'm here just like gathering info.
Right.
I will occasionally play the role of like the
so true.
Thing, okay, so I think
people don't want to get hit back.
Layman, okay, or as an outsider with some interest in the topic. All right.
Yeah.
I think one of the ideas is that if Bruce Lee were to either, let's say, before his untimely death, somehow be able to see into the future, and he would
people want to hear a complexity.
What a Jeet Kune Do class in 2024 looked like in Marina Del Rey at the Inosanto Academy, and he would see people with some belts. He would see some jiu-jitsu going on. He would see all sorts of weapon stuff, and he would see a bunch of things that, let's just say, were not necessarily done or done to that degree at that time back in 73. And the idea that Bruce would look in the future, see a class at the Inosanto Academy and be like, and not be sure that, well, this is Jeet Kune Do in 2024. And that he would maybe find that unrecognizable just from a superficial standpoint. Now, whether if he had time to then talk to Dan from the future and find out everything that would probably change the whole landscape there. But just kind of on first view, do you think that if Bruce Lee were to magically be able to see a class...
Yeah, it's more fun to watch a long-winded fight, right?
If he would be like,
Not like the
Yeah.
old
No,
samurai
totally.
where they just
That's
stare each other
Or do
down
you
and one
think you
moves
would
and cuts the other
think it
guy's head
was
off.
something else?
Which is what I'd rather see.
You wouldn't see such a class at the Inosanto Academy because such a class does not exist, right?
I know they're all separated.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
you
Dwight
have
definitely knows.
Like
He's heard a
day
lot of,
schedule.
you know.
There's this, there's this, there's this.
Right.
There's a jiu-jitsu
He's heard it
class,
all.
and he can kind of see what went on throughout the
Yeah.
day. Right?
I think he'd go, oh, I see what.
Like, it takes a lot for someone to put on a broadcast like he
He's
does
deliberately
and invite different peoples of all
following
factions of
my
JKD.
instruction to
You know?
not commercialize Jeet Kune Do. That's what he's doing, right? You see, but that would be 2024. But let's say that he had come back instead of 2024. Let's say he had come back between 74 and 84, right? Or even 70 to 84 when Inosanto was in the backyard. He would have been like, that's my boy. That's what would happen. He'd be like, that's my boy. He's staying true to him. The thing that happened is that in 73, when Bruce Lee died, they had outgrown the backyard where they had been for about 4 years or so. And so...
Are you talking about Dan Inosanto's backyard, right?
Yeah, they had outgrown his backyard, right? So the idea was, okay, look, let's do this. Let's get a space, and up front, we'll push our indigenous. So when I say our, I'm referring to him and Richard Bustillo, right? We'll push our stuff up front, the Filipino stuff. But we'll have a separate closed door Jeet Kune Do class that you have to be invited into. So you can train all this stuff, but we'll keep the Jeet Kune Do semi-private, so to speak, and on the down low.
The problem with that is people get confused. It's like, oh, so I can come here and I can learn some Filipino martial arts and whatever other classes you're offering, but the real stuff is the stuff I'm going to learn behind closed doors. I don't think if you are told right away, like, this is something totally different, that people are going to really understand it. Because JKD is not set. Like, it's a process. It's not, this technique is done this way. And you practice it in this manner. No. Like, you kind of get to create your own project, and you use the principles to guide you on how to build your own vehicle, right? If you're new to martial arts and you're taught in a commercial setting, and then all of a sudden you're brought into an unconventional setting, I think that just would confuse a few people. Just my opinion. Let's see. I don't think Bruce would have fought the Gracies. He wouldn't need to prove himself. Yeah, they probably would have challenged him, or at least compared with him. Let's see. Brother needs to sit on him. All right, back to the clip here.
It won't be what we push. So the name, we end up calling it the Kali Academy. One reason for me is because it takes too long to call it.
Yes,
The
I agree, Robert.
Jungfan Gung Fu and Filipino Kali Academy. It's just easy to say the Kali Academy.
It's really just being honest with yourself,
what
right?
you're doing, Alex, is you are downplaying you're not doing this. Every 2 words out of your mouth is Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee. Because then you look like somebody who is trying to make a name for yourself off of Bruce Lee. But if you go, we got all these classes, and if you say to people, look, if you study at this school, you're gonna get some training in boxing and some Wing Chun and some Filipino Eskrima and this and this and this. You're not getting Jeet Kune Do training, because that's what the phase classes were about. The Jeet Kune Do class that you had to be voted into, like I told you earlier, that was a separate thing.
So again, the issue with that is like people think that you go from style to style. That's not what JKD is. As Tommy made on his video that I posted on Facebook, you go from distance to target or target to distance, direct or indirectly, it being as efficient as you can. So going from style to style will confuse people, you know.
That was not at all. You could not go to the Junfan Gung Fu and Filipino Kali Academy and sign up for Jeet Kune Do classes. Wow. No. Didn't happen. Right? So that idea of now I forget what we were talking about. What idea we were talking about?
Was right? That if Bruce were to be transported?
So I would say any time between 1970 and 1984.
Yes.
If Bruce Lee
self-honesty is hard for most people.
And he had seen
because really,
what was going on,
what does that mean? If you have to be honest with yourself, it means you have to admit how lazy you are.
You're not commercializing.
That's really what you have to do. Admit to yourself how lazy you've been.
Actually, I
if you can do it,
that history on the
there's not much you can't do.
Because,
you know,
as someone who, I have the old books, like the Chris Kent books and Tim Tackett books. Yeah, I have all those books, and I remember reading about the Kali Academy, and I always thought like that it was kind of curious that that's what he called his school after Bruce Lee's death, and I think the narrative in my mind is, well, that's because that's the direction he wanted to go in, and I didn't realize that the Jeet Kune Do portion, it wasn't like he was pushing Jeet Kune Do out of the way. He was kind of, as you say, sticking to.
Before JKD, I trained karate for about 2 years when I was like
that's really interesting. That gives me
12, 13 years old.
But that actually completely changed the way I thought.
I always got complimented on my back fist.
Imagine if he had named it the Dan Inosanto Jeet Kune Do School. I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
That's right, Aki.
Did that. He
yep.
never
all the layers.
did that.
Wow. Now, you mentioned until 1984. So what changed in 1984?
Okay, so in
Robert, why do you think it's slowing
the,
down your finger jab?
The Kali Academy, right? I'm going to get myself in trouble with that one. Right? In 1984, the Kali Academy closed. And that gave birth to the Inosanto Academy, and then Richard Bustillo went off to found the IMB Academy. All right, and
what does IMB stand for?
So there are two. It's an acronym for two things. In one iteration, it stands for Inosanto Martinez Bustillo. In another iteration, it stands for International Martial Arts and Boxing. Right, the Martinez brothers.
That's cool, Aki.
Were they became business partners of Richard
Old school's the best, man.
And so, and Dan Inosanto
was
on
the I think
roster. He did teach classes.
That's the story, like
right.
that
So
Dwight's trying to tell here. That it was just secretly a backyard or backdoor thing, and you had to be invited.
He had
because Bruce told him to keep it backyard.
He had, at that time.
Bruce closed all the schools because he felt like everyone wasn't doing what they're supposed to, like they're taking it as a certain way. They're taking it as another martial art, right? The same as all the other ones. And the problem with that is like the quality started to go down, and I think he wasn't making a whole lot of money. He couldn't oversee everything, so he decided to close it. John Little makes an important note in the documentary A Warrior's Journey. He says people were unwilling to work hard enough to discover their own innate ability. And what does that mean? That means doing the reps. A lot of people just don't want to do the reps, but that's probably why he closed the school, because the amount of work required to make something simple work against anything, that's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. So, yeah. Man, my finger jab seam from that. Robert, what helps me is focusing mainly on the retraction. It's much more sudden. It's like we all focus on trying to go out, like throw the tool out there. But for me, If I focus more on the retraction, it's far faster, more relaxed.
I think there was an iteration of the Inosanto Academy where he shared space with Hawkins Chum. So they had a school together for a while, right? And then that dissolved, and he went on at one
Key, there's a point where you do so many reps that you can just feel it, and you don't have to try.
One, I think, was
your body
in
will do it.
Del Rey, and the other one was in some other town.
You'll feel the right distance.
But then ultimately it was just the one place.
Your body will
in
attack
Marina
within
Del
the
Rey.
right distance.
Interesting. All right. Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense. So, was there a change from this kind of keeping the JKD separate and keeping it invite only at that point? Has that since changed? Is it like, can you now sign up and learn JKD at the Inosanto Academy, or is it still something you have to kind of be invited to?
No, it's so. Here's what changed, and now this is my take on it. In 1979, so this is before the Comedy Academy closed.
Reps, the mother of all skill.
A guy named Bob Breen.
And you don't want to autopilot your reps, right? What you do is you say, okay, I'm going to do a high volume of reps, whatever the number that may be for you. 1,000 is our mark in IFO. That was what we kind of stuck with, and that's what gave the best results. But you don't start there, so maybe start with 300 to 500. For each 50 or 100, just pick one thing to focus on. Focus on making it more economical, eliminating wasted motion or tension, changing the angle of the attack. As long as it's simple and direct, you're not wasting any motion, it's going to get better. So each time you do your reps, you just break it up into different parts, different footwork. Focus on just the hip, focus on the retraction, making it indirect. This is how you get good. But people want to just do drills and do fun stuff. You can do all that once you've developed your tools.
Anything about basic boxing or what have you. So if they have nothing, how can you start teaching them a thing which, as you well know, catered to a certain degree?
I like the nerding out, Robert.
People who already have
I can appreciate that.
You see?
I just don't speak to people on that
so there's no way that
it goes right over their head, or they don't want to hear their eyes glaze over.
To be honest with you, he never wanted to go and teach Jeet Kune Do. So that's why if you find, you know how Black Belt Magazine has all of its catalog in Google Books.
Yes.
So if you go to the Black Belt Google Books and you do a search for Inosanto, for the words Inosanto and seminar, a ton of stuff will come up.
Let's get to the next part. Let's go to what is JKD. This is what I'm interested in.
Because Alex, ultimately, Jeet Kune Do is a thing that disappears. It's a thing that's invisible. When Bruce Lee moves, Bruce Lee moves. When Bruce Lee moves, look, that he's moving Jeet Kune Do. He's doing Jeet Kune Do. Jeet Kune Do ultimately is not a bloody thing that you do. It's a thing you become. That's why it is both an art and a philosophy. So there's a physical aspect for damn sure, yes. Because if I'm going to teach you how to speak English, well, that'd be a problem because there's a thing called American English, and we probably have a problem, because you wouldn't understand the difference between privacy and privacy.
No, not at all. You might as well be speaking, the Norwegian.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't understand the difference between the letter Z and the letter Z.
Certainly not.
Exactly. You have a ton of problems, right? Yeah. But that's it, right? So I would have to start you with A, B, and C. I'd have to teach you the components of this thing called the alphabet. Yes. But at some point, I'm going to let you loose to do your own thing.
You have to learn the fundamentals.
Once you've shown a certain level of proficiency with the letters, now you can go do your own thing. And as you become more and more proficient, then you'll understand that, why the thing about vowels and the thing about about anagrams and the thing.
I think,
antonyms,
I think there is
all
a
that stuff.
certificate for group leaders.
And ultimately, what are you doing? You're just expressing yourself in the English language.
I think he still does that.
You're not
I have
doing
one
English anymore.
somewhere.
But you did start out learning.
Yes, you start with the online
English.
lessons.
Yes.
Online lessons are what Dwight's talking about right now. The fundamentals, like the very basics. There's 108 of the original lessons for Tommy's lessons, right? And then the next series of lessons are on drills and application with a partner. So the 108, the first set, is really what you need to focus on. Even me now, like, I still go all in on just focusing on the fundamentals from the first 108, because that's really what you're going to be doing. Like, Tommy's already laid out JKD on the online lessons. You just have to be instructed on how to apply them and how you can become more innovative with them in your training. So I would start with those, and then what you can do is you can demonstrate to Tommy at a seminar, or you can go to a school, or you can meet with one of his instructors, and they can run you through a series of drills, and he can approve whether or not you're a group leader if you know the material. So you're speaking my language, Robert. I think he's so what he does now, Aki, is on a Facebook group. If you check him out on Facebook, he has a membership where you can pay for his Patreon. I think it's only like $12 a month. It's super cheap, but it's like an extension of his online lessons, and he's got more up-to-date material on there, training methods, all kinds of stuff. So I would check that out. But I don't know if he has any new lessons in the hopper, like down the pipeline. But he's supposed to be releasing his book. It's just about finished. So, all right, let's see what happened to the sound. Here we go.
I suppose maybe the one point, if I'm playing devil's advocate here, is when Dan Inosanto did take you to the side and then teach you Jeet Kune Do, was this then the Jeet Kune Do from a more technical standpoint that, let's say, an original JKD person would recognize as JKD, strong side lead, that kind of stuff? Was it the 5 ways of attack? Was it that classical JKD, or was it then also still different from, I suppose it's a weird word to use for Bruce Lee's art, but like the orthodoxy of when we think of Bruce Lee and his lead and the straight lead and the way he used his Wing Chun and the straight lead sidekick and all, like, was it that JKD, or was it then still yet something else?
Yeah, that so see, so this is where there can be there can be even more discussion. The thing about Jun Fan Kung Fu versus JKD, right? You know, because we know that for a period of time, Bruce Lee referred to what he did as the Jun Fan method.
This is in the early 60s. So Jun Fan method is what a lot of Inosanto people or concept people claim is what you have to learn prior to JKD. You don't have to learn that prior to JKD. The only reason they say that is so you understand trapping and sticking and pressure and energy. You don't have to learn any of that stuff. That's a misconception. It doesn't hurt to know it. It's not going to be a bad thing if you do know it for historical purposes or whatever. But it's not something you have to do in order to learn JKD.
When he, after the Wong Jack Man debacle,
tell him, Robert,
and when they started sparring full contact with the protective gear and what have you, around that time, the name or the idea of Jeet Kune Do came about. Okay? My question is this. So you know how July 9th, 1967 is the day on which the words Jeet Kundo first appear in Bruce Lee's Date Timer? I'm sure you've seen that image.
Yes.
Okay. So, what is that evidence of?
That was the
In your
first time.
opinion?
That was the first time he wrote it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the first time those words appeared in his daytime. It is not necessarily the first time he wrote the words down.
Right.
It's the first time those words appeared in his daytimer. It is not the date on which he created the name for the art that he founded.
I'm not real sure what the point is on knowing the dates of all this stuff. I guess it's, if you want to know the history, if you want to know exactly when he wrote down in his notes the name, like, I guess that's a big deal. But if you really want to get to the heart of the matter, it's like, okay, so what am I supposed to do JKD the way it was meant to be done? That's really what you should be asking yourself. All these questions and facts and figures and stuff, it can be useful as long as it has something to do directly with training, like, it's actionable. But I personally don't think you have to know stuff like this in order to understand JKD. It's just something that people like to kind of talk about, so. Oh, the sound again. Come on.
You see? So, this idea. So, my question is this. If July 9th was a Sunday, if they had class on July 8th at the Chinatown School, and they were going to have class on Monday, July 10th, is what they were teaching or training or practicing, did it change radically over a 24 or 48-hour period?
Well, obviously it must have. It's in his daytimers now, Dwight.
You know what? It must have. It must have. So at what point, right, the thing, so...
All right, so I think we saw enough. Let's see. So you can see that people are pretty locked into dates and facts and figures and what Bruce Lee ate. But you don't have to understand all that stuff in order to understand JKD. If you want to understand JKD, you draw a line to your target from your weapon. That's how you understand JKD. Don't waste time on this kind of stuff. I understand they're having a discussion. It's supposed to be like a comparison between original and concepts. And I think Richard Torres was supposed to be on there. I don't know why he decided not to, or he couldn't. So, yeah, I don't know. But these are the things that you can see what they like to discuss. And it's not anything wrong with that. It's just, I don't think personally it has anything to do with being good at JKD. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a huge subject. But personally, I don't even talk about that kind of thing, because once you've read it straight from the horse's mouth, and to me, so I've been studying this like the rest of you guys. I've been studying this stuff for a long time. I've been reading about all the different instructors, people in my area, people who are near me that are in the same vicinity, like the same territory, Southeast, Lamar Davis, people like that. I've been reading this stuff for a long time. And, a lot of people talk about dates, and you really just don't know what to think. But once I read Jesse's book, I knew that I got close as I could to the truth. Because that guy wrote the book in, I think, the late 70s. And so that was pretty soon after Bruce died. It wasn't right after, but he wrote it a few years after. And if you read it, you can tell that it's more like a kind of like a journaling type thing. Like the way he wrote it, it wasn't like your typical book on martial arts. It was like his experiences and things that he learned from Bruce and his own interpretation on what Bruce was trying to achieve, which to me is more important than putting labels and names and dates and facts and figures on things. You know, what was the process that he was after? You know, and then you can kind of like reverse engineer and find out some things maybe you don't know. You know, for instance, the Jun Fan Gung Fu thing that everyone talks about. It's really just a static stage, and Jesse talks about this in his book. I think Javier posted it on my Facebook. So there's 3 different stages, and the first stage that he started with was Wing Chun's static stage, but he no longer called it Wing Chun because he modified things. Why did he modify things? Because he was trying to catch his seniors. He's trying to catch up to them. They're ahead of him. So he had to eliminate certain things, make them really strong, practice a lot, like an outrageous amount of practice. And then he started to catch them. And then he started implementing new things that were more based on mobility and speed and having really good awareness, which kind of led him over to more fencing, boxing type stuff, because more speed and power. But his brother Peter had a hand in that as well. His Peter was a really good fencer, from what I understand. Had good footwork, good lunge, and so that started to change things a lot, you know. But again, people want to name stuff, put all kind of titles and things, and it's not that big of a deal. It's just like you're not getting to the meat of it. You're not getting to the important part, and the important part is like, all right, so what was he trying to do? So if we're going to talk about Jun Fan, and we're going to talk about Wing Chun and all these different arts and separate, and you have to learn this before you do this, and you have to do that before you did that, and he does this, and you have to learn this. It's like, where do I start? You know, you don't even know where to begin because there's so many people arguing. Well, I'm going to tell you, you want to know where to begin? Are you athletic? If you're not athletic, you need to focus your training on being more athletic. If you are athletic and you have a degree of speed, power, good footwork, awareness, hand-eye coordination, then you can get in there right away and start making JKD work the way it's intended to work. And that's, you know, 1 or 2 shots, guy's done, right? But if you're not athletic, you need to bring up your athleticism, your sports training, any kind of physical, personal training. Get stronger, develop some flexibility, endurance, maybe improve your body composition so you can move easier. I was talking about yesterday, so the guy's hand, it was like off to the side, like his elbow was further behind him, and his fist was pointing off. And I'm guilty of this as well, and I was saying it's because my shoulders are wide from heavy lifting, so my lats tend to stick out, my elbow tends to flare, and it shouldn't. So your training should be geared towards fixing things like this or finding a way around it. So yeah. But yeah, just wanted to chat today. I hopefully we'll have the Twitch thing fixed tomorrow. So I might be on Twitch tomorrow. I'm just trying to get going. Catherine's got this streaming thing set up, so I'm gonna take advantage of it while I can. Don't train for hypertrophy. True. Unless you need to gain just a little bit of muscle, you know, it's okay to train for some, but strength should be your priority, you know, improving your stability and structure. I'll put the link up for Twitch tomorrow, just so you can tune in if you want to. You don't have to download the app or anything. You just open the link and it should work. So yeah, I'm going to try to do that, Aki. So that's why I'm starting on Twitch by itself, because I'm going to try to do them simultaneously, because I have friends on both. Like I have people that know me on both. I'm not really on there a whole lot. There's just people that are on that. So, but I'll be back on likely tomorrow. I'll have it sorted tonight. Robert, you crack me up. Yeah, so I'll probably do maybe a video review tomorrow. I just wanted to kind of chat today because I couldn't get the Twitch thing working. So, but I'll pick back up tomorrow. Thanks you guys for tuning in. Last minute. Got some people in here. I'll probably be streaming pretty regularly. It'll be between 12 and this time now. It's just when I have the most free time between my clients and my students. But I like doing it. You know, it's good to talk to you guys and share ideas. Keeps me motivated. So if you want to come back, I'll be back on tomorrow, and I'll probably do Twitch. But I'll put the link up in the chat, or not the chat, the message board, and should be okay.